Hello and welcome to another installment of Solo Gamer Podcast Experience Point, a special episode where the three hosts you see before you, myself, Ian, Taylor, Kyle, gentlemen, welcome in.
Thank you.
Dennis, thank you.
We all pick a game normally, and then every now and then maybe a game related or affiliated show and or film. We go play that game, watch said show or film, and then we come back here after we're all done, and we just talk about it and discuss it. And we get write-ins as well from our audience, should they choose to participate. So with that, we'll just kick it right off. Today, we are discussing Mortal Kombat 2, the new movie that just came out. And we all saw it in theaters. Kind of a rarity. I was trying to think. It's pretty, now Kyle and I, we have actually been in theaters a little bit more recently, but overall, I think I probably go like 4 times a year. Like, how often do you find yourself in a theater nowadays, Taylor?
Decently often, actually.
Oh, nice.
I was talking to Anna about this, that like before we got together, one of my favorite things to do actually when I was kind of single and just like doing my own thing was to go to the movies by myself. So I would just like go like buy a ticket on like a day like after work or like, on a day that I had off or like a weekend or something and just go check something out. Sometimes I'd even do like a double feature, like just go see 2 movies back to back and kind of hang out for a little bit and just make a day out of it. So I've been going a lot recently, and me and Anna have gone together. But yesterday, I went and saw the movie yesterday, and she was kind of busy, so I was kind of reliving that time of just going by myself and checking it out. So it was a good time. But I've been going a lot recently. I love the theater experience. I actively want to support it. So
Yeah, I love it too. I just find that there are just not very many movies out where I'm like, yeah, I want to spend minimum $50 to go see a movie in the theater.
Right.
What about you, Kyle? Are you? I feel like every time you go to the theater, it's us. But
Yeah, I mean,
how often do you end up in the theater?
we live in
now?
the same old small little valley, so
Yeah, we do.
yeah, I think pre-COVID, and this is not because of COVID that I stopped doing it, but pre-COVID, when I was living in the Seattle area, I had like an AMC like monthly subscription that allowed me to watch a certain amount of movies every month, and
I remember that.
that was a lot of fun because it was like kind of forced you to make use of the money you're spending, and it was kind of like a consistent way to like watch movies, right? And so I kind of miss doing that. So I thought about, when I do eventually move back to the Seattle area, I'd love to get back into it, but really not so much. I mean, it has to be like one of 2 categories, right? It either has to be a movie that's so great that it's like day one, we need to go watch this,
Right, the reviews and the anecdotal stories you're hearing from everyone at work or your friend groups or whatever.
Yeah.
They're all just loving it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Or the other
group is, it's like a classic or something that's really, really fun to watch in theaters, right? Like, obviously there's Mortal Kombat kind of like fits into that category for me. Or like, actually, surprisingly, Avatar movies. I don't even personally really like the Avatar movies myself, but they're just a lot of fun to watch in theaters, just with the animation, and what's going on there. So there's like certain types of movies that's like, I'm not like super excited to see the movie in itself for like the story, but like there's certain movies that you just know that are made
like visually, it's a spectacle.
Yeah, and it's better to watch that in theaters and have that experience. So, but again, both of those are kind of rare instances. Most times I'm just like, and especially today's day and age, it's like I can watch it at home on one of my millions of subscriptions that I have.
Yeah, it's very true. I think that's kind of what has happened to theaters generally.
Yeah.
I'm utterly, completely aligned with you on that. I feel like I go see the big movies. Not like I kind of stopped going to see all the comic book movies and stuff, but just like anything that's comes out and is supposed to be absolutely incredible that sounds even vaguely interesting, I'll usually go see in theaters. For something I have like personal interest in, that's kind of like this one. This had nothing. I was expecting this movie to be even worse than it was. And and so I just it's just the title, right? I mean, it's just the franchise and what comes with it that would make me go see this. And to your point, Kyle, there's enough going on here where it's like it's going to be kind of fun in theaters, most likely, even if it's just for if the fight scenes are good or whatever. So yeah, it made me think about that. We don't really talk about movies very often on this this channel, this podcast. So just kind of something I thought about while I was in the theaters. Like, man, I do enjoy this. It's just few and far between, I think, where I'm willing to go and do it. So Mortal Kombat 2, kind of an interesting title to me. The reboot by the same director and writer, I believe, Simon McQuoid, and as director, and written by Jeremy Slater. I'm fairly certain that was the same group that wrote and directed the last one as well. Yeah,
that surprises me.
I'm not sure about the writer. The director, I'm like almost positive it's the same director. I'm not sure about the writer.
It's the same director. I do remember that.
Yeah, I don't know if Jeremy Slater wrote the first one.
Got to be a different writer.
Let's take a look really quickly. Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
1.
Simon McQuoid.
Writer. 2020.
Different writer, it looks like.
Yeah, which makes sense.
It does.
Yeah, Greg Rousseau, and I recognize Greg Rousseau, and Dave Callahan wrote the 2021 one. Yeah, it was really bad. So better writer. Much better writer, I would say this time. We'll get into this. I have very mixed feelings, like very high, very low opinions of this movie. It's kind of an odd one, but that'll make it for an interesting discussion. Before we jump into the nitty-gritty of the film itself, I actually don't think that conversation will take that long. It was a pretty short movie. It's a pretty simple movie. We'll hit on the writing. We'll hit on the direction. We'll hit on the direction as far as like camera work and cinematography, kind of loop all that together. We'll talk about the story and the characters, the dialogue, all that, and then kind of our final verdict. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, as I said, I feel like if I watch something like this, I kind of want to know what the person who's talking about it, where they're coming to it from. I personally would not care much about like reading a review of Mortal Kombat 2 by some like Hollywood critic who's never picked up a controller in their lives. Not because they don't have a good opinion. It's just like their opinion is not going to, it's like they're not looking for what I'm looking for in this movie. Right. So it's just not going to be very helpful. So I'd love to just go around and hear from you guys about your experience with the video game franchise and the movies all together, the previous movies, just to kind of like set the groundwork for where we're all coming from. Kyle, it's funny, as long as we've known each other, like Mortal Kombat, as much as I have been into it, it's not something we have ever really like played together very much, or if at all, I don't think. And it's not, I don't remember like watching those movies all the time together. They strangely enough, despite how many years we've spent in the same room playing video games and watching movies, somehow this has not really happened. So I don't know as much about your take on the franchise, your history, your experience. So catch us up on you and Mortal Kombat, man.
Yeah, I think when it comes to just the like universe and character creation, I've always been such a huge fan of it. Mortal Kombat is just like such a unique, and like I guess what I would say is I never really got into like DC or Marvel, and Mortal Kombat kind of filled that role for me. I liked the more mature, gory superhero version of that Mortal Kombat is, you know? And
yeah,
this is kind of what I grew up around. I honestly didn't really get into the games a whole lot. I have played them quite a bit, obviously, but just fighter games in general are not my style. I don't really enjoy them. And I know that thankfully the story modes have gotten, pretty good for Mortal Kombat. So I'd be down to play through that. But just the, head to head and playing online and with friends, just never, I don't know why, it just never really clicked for me. And that's not even to say that I don't enjoy the competition, because as you guys well know, I mean, League of Legends is my favorite game, and I've always loved Halo and stuff like that. I right now marathons are my thing, and I really like that competitive aspect and that environment. It's just for some reason Mortal Kombat, or not Mortal Kombat, but just fighting games in general never really clicked. But I will say, definitely grew up just really loving the 90s Mortal Kombat films. I know, obviously, looking back on it, those movies, especially the second one, are pretty bad. But as a kid, they were definitely more than passable for me. I thought they were so cool to just see some of my like favorite characters that I idolized as a kid, like fighting each other. I mean, wasn't paying attention to the story at all. So that's pretty much my history of it. Is I really enjoyed the universe. I really, really enjoyed, especially the first Mortal Kombat. The second one, I don't really have a whole lot of. I don't really remember that one a whole lot. I know like the kind of general outline of it, but it was the first one that like really hit me as a young kid, that actually got me into the games a little bit when I was younger. And then that's pretty much it. So when we watched the first one together, the more recent first one, I should say, 2021, right, is when it came out.
Yep.
Yeah. I realized and recognized how bad the original movies were, and kind of had the expectation of not. I knew I was just not going to really care about the story too much. Surprisingly, somehow, that movie went above and beyond with going way below the bar.
The 2021 one.
Yeah, it was so hard to watch. I mean, like, even being able to see some of your favorite characters like Scorpion and having, a relatively okay background story in there, and seeing the interaction between him and Sub-Zero. I mean, that always kind of gets me excited. But even outside of that, that first movie really bothered me, especially with having this new like main character in the game that makes no sense to me at all. I would rather I think maybe I would have liked it more if they just got rid of that character, to be honest.
It was definitely one of the worst parts of the movie, I felt like.
I felt like it was the part that made it unwatchable for me. Like, I can deal with a bad Mortal Kombat movie. I can totally deal with it. But then when it's not only bad, but you're like trying to add something to a very well-established universe, what are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah, it was bad. It was worse than bad.
Yeah.
I had actually forgotten all about him until I like read or had watched the movie, and he kind of like walked out on screen. I was like, oh my God, I forgot about this fucking guy. So
I feel like
one of those things, I totally forgot about him until we were sitting in the theater.
I feel like this movie directly addresses that.
They did. I loved that
awesome.
too.
That's why I was saying, I'm like, wait, same director? Really? And then I was like, it's got to be a different writer then, for sure.
Definitely a different writer, same director. So, yeah, very interesting. And they actually got most of the cast back, which, is interesting. At least they did that. The last time, the 1995 to 1998 ones, Annihilation was 1998. That might be one of the worst movies ever made, like just straight up. And they recast like almost everyone other than the actor that played Liu Kang, and that might be it. I think he was like the only returning actor. If I'm not forgetting someone, they're all different. The entire cast was swapped out, and then the movie picks up like the moment the last one ends. So it's quite shocking to watch.
Right.
Pretty bad. Taylor, what about you, man? What's your background with Mortal Kombat as a franchise, the games and the movies?
Yeah, I think in terms of like the franchise in general, I've kind of always considered myself a little bit more of like maybe like a slightly above average casual fan. I didn't really have a ton of experience with the games back like previous to the Xbox 360. Really, Mortal Kombat 9 was kind of like my introduction like to the games, honestly. Like, I had picked up and played some of the Super Nintendo ones and thought they were fun. A couple ones here and there on the Xbox, like the original Xbox, but it wasn't really until 9 and our group kind of playing it, when you lived here in Phoenix, like pretty frequently, that like I really ended up kind of getting into the characters and like the world, and like that was that was such a great, I think, place to get introduced to the franchise too, just because that, I think even to this day, that might be one of the best fighting games like ever made.
Dude,
even
MK9
still.
is like
So good.
I think it's the best Mortal Kombat, and there's like 2 or 3 that I'd put right in there. But yeah, MK9 might be just the best one in general, and yeah, that was like a great time. Like I feel like I'd always loved Mortal Kombat before that, but us all playing, like we would do like whole tournaments with drawing the hat and writing the name as you drew the names down. You do the seeding just by draws, and then we'd have like, and then over the years, you knew who the best people were no matter what. So then
Right.
they would be like the buys, like the Jeff and I can't remember who else would get like a buy automatically, so that the people in the first round felt like they had a chance.
Right.
So then we would all do it, and then we'd go down, and it would get down to the last 2, and we had some amazing times with the Mortal Kombat games. Like some of my favorite gaming memories, like just all together in the same room. And it's still one of the only games that even today you can grab 2 controllers on one television and get a group together and have a great time like with another person. There's like so few games left where you can even do that anymore.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And what about the movies before this? How about those?
Yeah, the movies, I had seen the original one a long time ago and just kind of thought it was dumb fun. So every other movie after that, I feel like I've seen some of the other ones in the time in between the original ones to this one, but I don't really remember them very well. It sounds like for probably good reason. I don't think they were very memorable.
95 is worth watching.
Ways. Yeah.
95 is definitely worth watching. 95 is like this. I would say 95 and this one are like dead even.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things I've always like really appreciated about the series too in general is it kind of like Mortal Kombat has always felt to me like, and I honestly wouldn't be surprised if this was kind of like Ed Boon's sort of thing, is that like it feels like all of your favorite things about like an American guy who watched like Kung Fu, like Bruce Lee, like Enter the Fist movies.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then kind of infused like Americana into it to just be like, what if we just made this but like a little bit more badass with like a lot more blood? Like that's kind of what it's always felt like to me. So I've loved that they've kind of retained, like, even if the movies haven't been super good, I kind of love that they've like retained that sort of feeling still. You know, it's a very 90s feeling property, and I like that they can still like channel that like even into the like games and movies and stuff. So I've always appreciated that aspect of it. One thing I was going to bring up earlier is we were talking about like having Mortal Kombat merch, and I wanted to bring this up on the show, but there was a band from Arizona called The Word Alive. And I remember I never had any Mortal Kombat merch, but they had like a band t-shirt that had Sub-Zero and Scorpion on it, and it had like the band logo with The Word Alive, and then it was like Sub-Zero like ripping Scorpion in half or something like that.
Oh,
so
sick.
I always loved that shirt. I don't remember what happened to it. I think I might have grown out of it, or it got too small, so I threw it away. But I used to love that shirt back in the day.
Yeah, that's super cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever did? Mortal Kombat was like so popular when we were like really young. I don't know if you guys remember ever doing this, but I remember in elementary school, we used to have like Mortal Kombat like fake tournaments like in recess.
In the recess? Oh yeah,
and like 100% to be like our favorite fighters.
And you do the fatalities,
like do like some LARPing.
Yeah, pretty much. But for like 8-year-olds,
for kids.
Oh yeah,
mm-hmm.
Man.
And it's like, to me, this game. So like I would say if like the highest tier of a fan is a super fan, like I would be maybe like right below that. I've been playing Mortal Kombat since I was way too young to be playing Mortal Kombat. My first experience with Mortal Kombat was the Sweat version on SNES or Super Nintendo, where in order for Nintendo to approve it on their platform, the devs had to go in and remove the blood and replace it with Sweat, which has just made the blood animation like gray.
Yeah, it was like salt and pepper.
It's like salt and peppery gray. Yeah. And that was my first Mortal Kombat. And like much of my gaming taste, it's all just what my brothers were playing. And I would just hang out around them and watch because I could never do anything myself as 4 or 5. trying to just, if I ever got the controller, it would just be like, you just spam the punching button over and over because you don't know what you're doing. And just immediately just thinking the two ninjas were super cool. Love the ninjas. You can unlock Reptile in Mortal Kombat 1, the green color palette swap thing that they kept doing and having new. And then as more came out and I was getting older every time, I just started to like, it's cool. This is one of the only gaming franchises that I can think of that I started when I was like 4 or 5 years old that is still going and that I've literally been alive for like every single one. And it's been it's been the same creators pretty much the whole time as well.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating. And it's a wild ride. And just as all the new characters get introduced and they really started to get into like the story as they got into the 3D. There's always like the little towers, you do the towers and it gives you a little story thing after each fight. And at the end, it gives you a paragraph about the character that you played the tower with and like tells you what they would go on to do, after they won the tournament or whatever. It's like, that was like the extent of the story of the original games. And then as it kept going, they got more and more into the storyline. And like I was super into the Mortal Kombat storylines throughout like the original Xbox era. I got Deadly Alliance for Christmas. I remember like screaming. And Deadly Alliance is the one where they kill Liu Kang like right in the beginning and Shang Tsung turns him into like a zombie slave. And you're like, no. And it's like so many cool stories and the fact that they basically with Mortal Kombat 9, it's a sequel and a reboot at once because of the way that they tell the story. And like the beginning of MK9 picks up where Armageddon, which was the last Mortal Kombat game after Midway closed, Midway shut down, and it was thought that Mortal Kombat would be dead, but Warner Brothers then bought Mortal Kombat from Midway as they were sinking. Like, we'll take it. And then they created NetherRealm Studios, which was a lot of the same people who were making Mortal Kombat, including Ed Boon, the original creator. And they just kept making them. And that's when they started getting more story based. And man, the MK9 picking up right where Armageddon leaves off, and like it's like a fresh start. It's the beginning. It's the first tournament all over again. And all the way now through Mortal Kombat 1. So just a crazy, like, there's just not a lot of, I feel like there's not a ton other than Mario, like a lot of the Nintendo franchises. It's one of the few non-Nintendo franchises that is still alive and like incredibly healthy. I feel like people who aren't into games don't really know that much about it, but like these games sell. Mortal Kombat 1 sold 8 million copies. Mortal Kombat 11 sold over 15 million copies. Mortal Kombat 10 sold over 10 million copies. And Mortal Kombat 9 sold up to, says over 3. So not as much, because I think the brand wasn't as... Mortal Kombat was not well loved by Armageddon. It was the games were not very good anymore, so I think people were surprised by Mortal Kombat 9, and then 9 was so good. Then 10 came out, and they've sold double digits every time since then. So it's a huge franchise. So really interesting stuff. I just think it's a fascinating series, and so I was excited when they announced this movie, even though I did rewatch the 2021 one with Alicia like last week, and I knew it was bad. I remember being like, this is not great. But watching it again, I was like, I forgot how truly awful it was. So I had no hope for this one whatsoever. So let's just get through our general takeaways and overall feelings, and then we'll kind of get into the specifics. Kyle, after the lights came back on and the credits were going and we were walking out of there, kind of what were your general thoughts?
Why am I so blurry? Okay.
I don't know. It was like not. It was like I did not want to focus on you at all.
I moved for 1 second. You know what? I especially after the first one, like we talked about, very, very big disappointment. And again, came out with extremely low expectations with the first one, and it was somehow just way worse than that. which is surprising because when you go in with that low of expectations and still walk out going, why did I come here? I mean, that's pretty bad. But no, the second one, I honestly was pleasantly surprised and really enjoyed it. I think it didn't hurt that I was a little bit under the influence for this movie.
There you go.
It's definitely the type of movie where you should be. I also feel like the crowd that was there with us was, you could tell
it was fun.
It was fun because everybody was like, occasionally you'd hear like off to behind a few rows to the right, somebody would be like, finish him, you know?
Oh yeah. There's a bunch of Mortal Kombat fans in there. There was like I think it was when Sindel gets just like her head gets impaled on a spike.
Oh,
there was some guy to our right who went, "Oh, fuck yeah!" I was like, "This guy gets it, man." I mean,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's like it kind of felt like we were at home, man. It was kind of nice. Yeah, it's cool to see all the longtime Mortal Kombat fans, and a lot of those guys seemed much older than me too, and so obviously the franchise goes way back, so. It's just cool to see all that. But yeah, I was really, really happy with the movie. Are we spoiling stuff?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Spoiling everything. Experience points are complete spoiler cast.
Yeah, just, I guess if you are listening, heads up, this is going to spoil. But one of my favorite parts about it, and the reason why I was surprised it was the same director here, is they waste no time killing off this stupid-ass character from the first movie.
Yeah.
And it was like
a very
way.
unceremonious
Yeah. Just the most annoying character. I honestly forgot about this guy. And then we started watching the movie. I'm like, oh, that's right. The guy that I hate is in here. And when the moment I saw that his first fight was with Shao Kahn, I was just like,
oh yeah, he's gonna die.
Please.
Yeah, this guy's getting wasted, and I'm totally here for it. Yeah, I thought it was really enjoyable. I thought, Johnny Cage provided quite a bit of humor. And I also felt like, because, we watched Project Hail Mary together, and both of us felt like maybe they were trying to be too funny all the time. And it was like everybody was trying to be funny, which is annoying. With this movie, it felt like Johnny Cage was specifically the avenue of comedy in this film. And it makes sense, right, with this character. So it's like the director, Simon, is very aware of like, I want there to be humor, but it's not going to come from everybody. We're going to have a lot of serious characters who are not joking around, which I love that. It's like, if you're going to do this, you're going to have comic relief. It's got to make sense for the character, right? And so Johnny Cage is perfect. It's really, really cheesy at times. He's got his, really dumb, like, one-liners that's like classic, like 80s, like action film stuff.
Yeah, he's almost like a Steven Seagal kind of like character.
Yes, I love all of it, but you could tell that they're aware of it and they're intentionally doing that on purpose. And it's genuinely funny if, when you have the right perspective. And I think it didn't hurt that I was a little high. But, yeah, I actually really enjoyed it. I'm really glad that they decided to be like, you know what, this new character thing was a terrible idea. Let's do some service for the fans who watched it and clearly didn't like this part. I think that was a resounding, like, who is this guy from everybody that watched it.
Who is this guy and why is there no tournament?
Right.
Yeah.
It's fucking Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we doing? God,
Right.
it pissed me
Yeah,
off
that
so
whole
much.
movie was just one entire setup. And not
Yes.
really a setup because they decided to just kill it off, right? Because the whole point of that movie is like this new character is like the main guy. And it's like,
Well, yeah, they had the whole thing with like the Arcana, and if you have this birthmark that's like a fucking the logo of Mortal Kombat on your shoulder, you were like a chosen one. It's like none of this. Again, it's that classic movie Hollywood reaction to video games where it's like, okay, so here's the story from the games. And they go, I don't need that. I don't fucking need that. We're gonna make it up.
yep.
And it's like, there's no such thing as Arcana or dragon birthmarks in any Mortal Kombat game. It's never been a thing.
Right.
It doesn't need to be a thing. We don't need to. It doesn't need to be a thing. And there's a quote from Simon McQuaid out there saying that he realized shortly, either during or after the movie, the first one, that was definitely going to become his midi-chlorian mistake. Where he's like, we didn't need to do that. It's like they're trying to make it understandable for non-gaming audiences. It's like non-gaming audiences might be dumb, but trust me, Mortal Kombat is not going to go over their heads.
Yeah,
right.
You just tell them it's a fighting tournament and the winner rules the loser's world. That's it. Done.
Yep.
Like there's no need to add this extra shit in there at all. And the fact that you have Liu Kang, who is the protagonist of the whole series and always has been.
Yep.
As like this side character it was just fucking nuts, man. So I'm so glad.
Yeah.
I'm so glad they fixed that. And Carl Urban, like, I'm glad that they were like, hey, we need one A-list actor.
Yeah.
To kind of carry this thing through. Because everyone else is either good or not so good or bad acting wise. Yeah. There's a little bit of all of that in here. And we'll get to each character. But just having Carl Urban, like even before seeing it, I'm like, oh, okay. So they decided to pay an actor, which is nice.
Yeah. You knew you were at least going to get one like pretty good performance.
Yeah.
Like, coming in.
And I thought he was awesome. I thought the approach to his character was a really good idea. We'll get into all of that. But Taylor, I kind of want your quick kind of 360-degree take on this, like how you just sort of feel about the movie generally.
Yeah, generally I feel like I enjoyed it. I think it was one of those things like you mentioned, Kyle, where I came in with low expectations, and it was kind of one of those moments where like having pretty low expectations and a low bar of just like, I just want to have fun with it, and I'm not really expecting a whole lot, paid off for me, which is nice. I kind of always like when that happens. But yeah, generally I thought fight scenes were well choreographed and fun. I thought they paid a lot of good homage to the games. There's a lot of, your Easter eggs in there and your one-liners and things of that nature. So I really liked it from that aspect. And we've already talked about Carl Urban a little bit too. I thought he had a great performance, and I thought it was a really cool and interesting idea to make him kind of like the main character along with Kitana. It was kind of like one of those things where like I don't remember that happening in like a previous movie or game, so it was kind of like they should have made these two the main characters or attempted it at some point in time. So I just thought it was a great idea to kind of center the story around those folks. I don't know how much it relates to kind of some of the games or if either of them have been like the main characters before, but I thought it was a good idea to kind of center it around those two characters just in general. And generally I think the ensemble is pretty good with a couple performances I thought were pretty bad or a little bit annoying. So the guy who plays Kano I thought was kind of like unnecessary. Like I just felt like kind of like you said, Kyle, like we had our comic relief character in Johnny Cage. I didn't feel like we needed to have Kano also kind of playing the same part,
that is kind of Kano though. I will say it's like that's how he's always been, is just kind of that really annoying Aussie guy.
Yeah, but I don't know if I was a fan of them making him kind of like a good guy in this one too.
I agree.
It was like,
that was weird.
Now we have him playing like second fiddle to Johnny Cage in the comedy aspect, and I'm like, you probably could have just had Johnny Cage here. But anyway, with a couple like nitpicks here and there, I definitely think it's far from a perfect movie or even like a really good movie, but I think it accomplishes what it's set out to do. So I'd like to see them make a third one and see where they go from here.
Yeah. I feel like I echo both of your thoughts on this one. I think when you asked me, like we were texting and you asked me what I thought of it before you went to see it, and I was like, as a movie, it's like 2.5 stars. I mean, it's very mediocre. Just objectively, like if I'm rating it on the same scale that Saving Private Ryan is on, then it's like a 2 to 2.5 star movie. But for Mortal Kombat, that does change the standard for me, and it wouldn't always. Like video games, to me, don't change the standard anymore. Like I don't. It's good. Something's good, or it isn't. But it's kind of difficult because Mortal Kombat is fun and campy and very like irreverent and usually the games, they do a good job of towing it right up to the line, but they do a good job of receding back and giving you some really good serious characters, and like you do care when a character dies that you like. So it doesn't go so far to be just complete fucking nonsense, but it's close, right? They skirt the line in the games. In the movies, it's always felt like the people making the movies are like, oh, this game is campy. That's all we have to do. And they just make it like cheesy shit. And they never take anything seriously, like none of it. So your point, Kyle, like there was enough characters that felt like the characters cared about what was happening in the movie. To be like, okay, at least some people are being affected by the events, right? It's like, it's not like just so clearly, let's just break the fourth wall all the time. The whole Kano thing, that really, I didn't like that. He's a bad guy. He's a fucking murderer for hire.
It was kind of like one of those things too, where I thought the most
wrong.
Kano thing to do would have been to have him double cross or something, and then it just never happened.
Yeah, and I could go down so many rabbit holes of like where they went right or wrong with like the nature of the different characters. Like just a quick example of that would be like when Kano is resurrected by Quan Chi. They really fucked up Quan Chi in this movie. Yeah. But when he was like begging Quan Chi to like make him an eye and giving him shit and stuff, and then he just makes him an eye and he puts it in. I was like, oh, first in my mind, I was thinking, oh, this is a great moment because Kano thinks he's this badass and he's talking to goddamn Quan Chi right now, which the movie apparently doesn't know who goddamn Quan Chi is. Yeah. They think Quan Chi is like a sniveling little golem figure.
Yeah.
So that was before that had gotten that far. I was expecting Quan Chi to turn around and like knock him out and torture him and then give him the metal faceplate with the red eye and like, and make him give him this whole, and that he hated and it was uncomfortable. And Quan Chi be like, yeah, watch what you ask for. Cause I'm goddamn Quan Chi. So very disappointed with Quan Chi in this movie, this little rat figure, which is like, what the fuck have you been watching? This guy is one of the most badass characters in the whole
Igor.
Oh my God. He's he's just this sniveling. Quan Chi is this like massive, tall, powerful, like necromancer who, has conquered death itself. And then he's just like this little sniveling weirdo. I didn't like that. But just like little things like that, where it's like you had an opportunity to kind of continue to be like the game. You can come up with any way you want to get to the end result, but get to the end result. Kano should have a metal faceplate and a red eye because it's Kano.
Yeah.
And he should be a bad guy. He always ends up working for Shang Tsung or whatever, because he's can't see 5 feet in front of his face. You wave cash in front of him and he does it. Like that's his character.
I was gonna say he's not like the altruistic, like I'm doing this for the good of Earth.
Especially what I would say is like now that excuse me. Now that he's died and he's been resurrected, it's almost like this is the perfect time to just make him fully this like undead, just piece of shit person.
Yeah. Yeah. The Revenant. You could have made a Revenant of him because that's a whole thing in the games. Like the Revenants that Quan Chi creates with Shang Tsung and all this. And they're basically like undead slaves who are almost as powerful as their original counterparts and like super cool stuff. They're still ridiculous, right? It's still campy and fun and over the top and like it's like they can't even get that right sometimes, and I just don't understand where these conversations come from. It's like, just do it, you had it right there. But I would say, so here's the big thing, my big general thing I want to say about this movie, and then we'll get into some of the story stuff. I'm really tired of the Avengers script,
the quips,
but there is a reason that has been such a thing since the Avengers movies. And it's because if you have a hard time, if you're not a very good writer and you're trying to figure out how to get an audience to buy in to something that is a little ridiculous, like superheroes, like having Thor on screen, literally live action, with his big helmet and his armor and his hammer, is pretty ridiculous. Like if you're trying to be grounded and realistic, it's just like, and then he shows up and he's bright red and he's flying around. I mean, I think that was the reaction, was like, we have to make this, we got to get like mom and dad and grandma and the kids and everybody, and like the kids who are afraid of being nerds that are in high school that don't want to admit that they like this stuff. Everyone has to like this movie. So how do we do that? Like, let's make this irreverent, sarcastic script that kind of winks at the audience, like, hey, I know this is kind of nuts, right? Or this is hard to take seriously because we don't know how to make it work. It does work. I hate it when they do it. They did it for the Disney Star Wars movies. They completely ruined them with that style of script. They couldn't ever take themselves seriously. But fortunately for the creators of Mortal Kombat movies, the games are already a little bit like that.
Right.
And so it doesn't like hurt as much as it does with something that should be taken extremely. I still think you could make a really good serious Mortal Kombat show.
Absolutely.
100%. But I get it. I do get it. These are bombastic games. These are games that people from all over the spectrum of video games love. Mortal Kombat. They're just one of those games. I don't have a problem with taking this approach. Get a big name who can execute it like Carl Urban and have fun. And like, it's fine. Like, popcorn movies have a place. They should exist. The Avengers is a good movie. It is fun. It is funny. It's light. It's not like watching Schindler's List. Not everything has to be ultra serious, even though that's my favorite type of thing. So like, right. I am okay with it. I think they balanced it okay here. I was laughing out loud at, like, truly laughing at some of Carl Urban's lines. I think he did a great job with some of that stuff. And they had just enough seriousness in there. And for me, the one thing as a Mortal Kombat fan that this sold is they just fucking nailed Katana. The way she fights, the way she looks, her fan. Like, I was just like, oh my gosh, because she's always one of my main characters. Like, I always pick 2 or 3 characters in every Katana or in every Mortal Kombat game. She's always one of them. I love playing as her. And watching her in the movie was like, oh man, it felt just like the games. Like, you're just unstoppable, crazy, flashy moves with the fans and jumping, very like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon like style martial arts. Just super, super cool. So I think they nailed Katana, and I love that they kind of made her the main character, her and Johnny Cage. So I don't know. That's my negative and my positive. They fucked up some characters. They did a great job with others. I don't love the irreverent millennial writing thing with like, but I get it, and I do think it worked here ultimately.
Right.
Okay, so let's get into some of the specifics. Like the actual story itself, I think they did a lot better job of paying homage to a lot of the in-game lore, like Shao Kahn killing the king of Edenia in the beginning, and like her being there. What did you guys kind of feel about the beginning of the movie, how it sets up with Johnny Cage? Like, I loved the Khan thing where he's like no one's even hanging out with, like, no one even wants to go to his booth at the Khan, like
get a signature.
I feel like the beginning is one of the stronger parts of this movie. Kyle, what were some of the things in the first, it could be anything you want, from the first like quarter-ish of the movie, any of the setup stuff, what were some of the things you liked in the first, like, I don't know, 30-40 minutes ish?
I really love making Kitana like the main character and spending a lot of time developing that character and her purpose, because I feel like, anybody who plays the games knows that you knows her by Princess Kitana, but it's always like, well, why is she, and why is she a princess? Where does she come from? What's her story? And I feel like the other movies didn't really get into that. Now I need to play the games because I would imagine that they do get into that more.
Oh yeah, we'll play them together, man. It'll be so fun.
Yeah. But that's my first time getting to see that entire story. I shouldn't say entire story. Obviously, it's pretty quick. That's my only thing is I really loved the setup in the beginning, and I walked away from that going, that was a good start. But man, would it be great if they could do a series out of this, like an actual show, to be able to spend time and do background stories on everybody and get the larger picture of this tournament, because it feels like you've got to introduce characters, get through the tournament. People got to die, and we got to get to the end within like 2 hours. It's really hard to pull that off. So credit to the director, because obviously you've got to fit this in a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff to get through. So, but yeah, really love the background story with Kitana. I love the introduction of Johnny Cage and bringing him more to the forefront, especially if you're going to go with that, Marvel script, where you're going to have a lot of comic relief. You got to kind of make Johnny Cage the main guy then, to make that work, to make that make sense. Because if you had Liu Kang as the main character and he's cracking jokes, I'm not going to finish this movie.
No, it's yeah. That's a great call out.
Yeah. So yeah, I love seeing the background story. I like the idea of having Johnny Cage up in the forefront. I also think that the Kano thing was a bit weird. I think it was also another avenue of like trying to force that comic relief. I think Kano played a little bit too big of a role in this movie. When it comes to just screen time and the amount of script that he had to go through, it's like, all right, I think we've had enough of this guy. He's not really that in depth. He's kind of a sleazeball. We don't need that much of Kano here. And then my other thing is I actually enjoyed the switching of sides for Baraka. I thought it
was cool.
It actually kind of made sense, right? Like he's kind of when you think about where he comes from, he's kind of a neutral character in general, like he's not necessarily good or evil by nature, I'd imagine. He's just kind of a brute, so to speak.
Yep.
You know? So he could
usually just
he could be
kind
swayed.
of like a killing machine that's unleashed.
He could be swayed either way. So I'm like, this is a cool idea. I can rock with Baraka being a good guy. And then
me too.
Next movie being a bad guy because he's kind of an idiot,
Yeah, just being convinced, just like pulled in every direction. Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Yeah, so I really liked that. But yeah, I think Kitana being in the forefront and just seeing how badass she was and just beating on everybody, even, with Shao Kahn, if he wasn't essentially immortal and just healing back from everything, she was like pretty much whooping his ass from beginning to end. Really cool to see that and the style of fighting. My only critique about the fighting, though, is like Liu Kang was a little bit too sorcerer happy, in my opinion. I mean, I know that he's got a lot of fire spells, and I know that obviously he's got the dragon entity within him in his spirit, but I want to see some more martial arts because that's really where a lot of his iconic moves come from, with the the kicking.
That's a good point. He's a Bruce Lee character.
That's a great call out. I think the issue for them with that is that like the way they told the story, by the time we meet Liu Kang, even in the first movie, like he's already gone through his whole journey of being trained as kind of the chosen one or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So like we don't get to see any of that because by the end of his journey, the very, 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 very end of his journey, like he basically is like a god. He's basically like the next Raiden, sort of. He sort of takes over for Raiden after everything is said and done and becomes like a demigod. And he does have dragons and stuff. I mean, that's like his very final at the very end. But I agree with you. That's a great point. Like we didn't get to really appreciate that, the martial art, the true martial art, which is what his character's supposed to be all about. That's a really good call out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Taylor?
Taylor, what about you, man?
Yeah, I pretty much echo everything you guys have said. I thought the movie starts out very, very strong and sets up the world and characters really, really well. I just, especially we've talked about it before, but just the Johnny Cage intro, man, is just so good.
Oh my god!
Like especially when they show the like movie that he's in the beginning, and they got the blonde lady with the with the rocket launcher. I laughed out loud during that scene.
That was really
good. It was so dumb. It was so good. Just I think the perfect way to play that character. And I mean, ditto for the opening with Kitana. I admittedly don't know a ton about her backstory. I've always thought she was a really cool and well designed character, but I didn't really know anything about like the wider Edenian like kingdom or anything like that, so it was kind of cool to see.
Nailed that. Like all of that.
That's really cool to hear.
Shao Kahn marrying, like basically murdering and then resurrecting Sindel to be his evil undead wife, and that's Kitana's. That's her mom. Like all of that is 100% with the game lore. Like everything about it. That's why I was so pumped. I was like, oh, they finally did it.
Yeah, that was cool. And I didn't know that aspect of it either. That was one of the things I remember I wanted to ask you on here, was if the whole Sindel thing was accurate to the lore. So yeah, I thought it started off really strong, and one of the best things you can ask for when you're making a movie like this is just that you set up the world and the characters and make sure that we have a good starting point for everything. And I think they did that. I think it's also worthy to mention too that it ends up being kind of some of the best like back and forth between characters in the movie too. But the Jade friendship that Kitana has with her, I also thought was really well done too. Where there's kind of like a breaking of allegiances. Like, she obviously is like beholden to Shao Kahn as kind of like his like right hand, and so I kind of liked seeing her evolution throughout the movie and her eventual kind of crossing of sides. So really cool to see. I liked it.
Yeah, and like that was the thing that was carrying me through this, is like everything around Kitana they just nailed. Like, that's exactly what Jade is. She's a bodyguard with torn allegiances, who has to make a choice. Like, that's kind of her primary character. I really like the a lot of the people we're talking about too were also the actors and actresses that did a good job. I just want to, like, because some of their names are not super well known. So Adeline Rudolph played Kitana. I think she was excellent, actually.
Right.
I mean, as good as you can be. There was a couple times where it's like the end when they're cheering her name. It's like, this was so clearly like a soundstage with like 100 people on it.
Yeah.
It felt really awkward. Like, it would be hard to act in that moment. She's like supposed to be overcome with all of this emotion. It's like, oh God, this doesn't feel quite right. But with these like extras, I don't know. There's a few times where the budget that was, this does not have a Marvel budget, and it comes through every now and then.
Sure.
There's some very sound stagey moments in this movie that hurt, but yeah, Adeline Rudolph was really good as Kitana, and then Tati Gabrielle, I recognized her. She was Jade, but I'm looking at her.
She's the main character in Intergalactic.
Yep. That was, I was like, the whole time I was like, where do I know this person from? And then looking it up as I was getting ready for this episode, I was like, holy shit, that's right.
Dude, I would have said something while we were in the theaters, but I thought for sure you already knew who this was.
No, but it was driving me insane. I was like, where the fuck do I know her from?
Yeah.
And it makes me, I do wonder, because apparently I never saw the movie, but apparently she was in the Uncharted movie.
Oh, really?
And I wonder if there was some kind of weird crossover where like she met maybe she met like Neil or someone at Naughty Dog during her time.
Who is she in Uncharted?
Joe Braddock, a villain. I have never seen it, so I don't know who that is. It's not a game character.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Interesting. Maybe she plays one of the like hitmen or whatever that are after she
also plays Nora in season 2 of The Last of Us. I didn't get that far. I quit watching it before it got to that. She's in The Last of Us Part 2 as well.
I did finish it. Yeah. Yeah, she is.
So she's got one of those
history with Sony.
Yeah, apparently. So she's got an interesting, she's like a kind of a gaming film adaptation actress. It's like been her career, a lot of the stuff that she's done. So I think that's really cool. I think she did a really good job. She's just a very striking person. She's just incredibly memorable. Something about her face. So I thought she was excellent. Just a lot of, I feel like, I liked Liu Kang better, in the same actor as the last one, but I just feel like the writing was a little better for him. And that guy, his name is Ludi Lin. He is a actor and model, and I think he might actually be, I don't know if he is a martial artist or not, but I do think the fights were better. Like, there was less constantly cut. Like that opening scene, the opening fight scene between Katana and Johnny Cage was like a little bit of everything. It was like really cool, really slick, well done action, lots of cool stunts. Also kind of funny because Johnny was so scared and not even really trying. It was a good setup for kind of how everything worked. I really appreciated the way they set up the tournament, and they had like the 4 or 5 pyres of flame that were floating, and they just explained it. And then I loved that it's like they didn't try to over explain anything. They're like, look, the however it works. Like the tournament just chooses when it's your turn, and they would literally start to glow and vanish and then appear in a fighting ring, a bunch of them, which were straight from the games. And I just loved that. The spike pit from the original game, the acid pits, like with the
acid pit,
fight.
I remember.
That's from
sure.
like almost every Mortal Kombat has. That's like one of the original maps, and it's been in like multiple maps. So in multiple Mortal Kombat. So like I just love, there was so much more love for the games in this movie than from the last one, that even if there was something that was bugging me, I was like, yes, sick.
Yeah, I felt like in the last movie, if I remembered right, like a lot of the fights took place in like a parking lot or like a warehouse or something. Like,
dude, I mean, Scorpion and Sub-Zero have their big like fight in the last movie in a boxing ring.
Right.
You know,
it's crazy, dude.
It's just so bad. It's like, what the hell? And you know, this time, oh man, there's so many cool things just from the games into this movie that we can just keep going into.
I like the now that I'm thinking about it, I liked the like undead Kung Lao like fighting Liu Kang interaction.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty cool to see them fighting each other. And
very cool. Yet another direct pull from the gaming storyline that they do. Like they did a good job of not being afraid to do their own thing. Like Johnny Cage's character, this version of Johnny Cage, totally different, but really smart way to set it up. I love that he's like a washed up dude. But yeah, like the Kung Lao, the Revenant thing is totally like it's straight out of the games. So I thought that was super, super cool. I think they used his hat in a really cool, like just like it felt similarly to the way Katana uses her fans. It's like watching the movie felt like it's like what it feels like when you're playing the game with those.
Yeah, I was gonna say I remember specifically that fatality too, like slamming him on the blade while it like is going and it's like sticking out of his back. Like I remember that fatality specifically. I'm pretty sure the last one too with Kitana with the fans and like cutting Shao Kahn's head in a bunch of different pieces is also like a pretty memorable fatality. Yep. So
yes,
a lot of cool little callbacks.
How did you guys feel about Shao Kahn? I think they actually did an excellent job. I need to look up who the actor is, but what did you guys think of Shao Kahn in this movie?
I liked him. I thought that he was physical and imposing, and I like that we got a lot of scenes of him actually fighting too. It was kind of like one of those things where I could have imagined maybe from like a budget perspective or like a CGI perspective that we'd probably get a lot of him just sitting in a throne room and then like maybe one or two fights at the end that are like 5 seconds long. But I like that they actually had like several scenes of him fighting and using his hammer. And I don't know, he played a bigger part in the movie than I even expected him to, just because I was kind of coming into it being like, well, it's probably not going to have that big of a budget, so we probably won't see him that often. But he had a lot of cool moments. Then just crushing what's his name's head was like the cherry on top of the sundae. You know, it was like one of the best uses of the character. So
and then just shoving his body into the acid pit. Man.
Yeah, just to die unceremoniously. Just fucking awesome, man.
Like, our bad. We will not make up a character because this game has got like 100 great characters to choose from.
Yeah, like what's the point?
He was Cole Young. He's a he's like a bad create a character from Armageddon, which the coolest thing about Mortal Kombat Armageddon was that you could literally make like any character you want and make up like a suite of powers and stuff. And a lot of people just made like stupid characters, and I just feel like that's like, let's make the most generic create a character for Mortal Kombat Armageddon and make him our main character. With
the ensemble such as Johnny Cage, Jax, fucking Cole Young.
Cole Young, I know.
What a wet blanket.
With the dialogue of like the good side of Commander Shepard, like just really over the top, like, we're doing this for our families. And
dude, you said so loud.
That part was so funny, dude.
I was just gonna say those exact words. Like,
I might never see my wife and daughter again.
Oh God! As soon as he started talking, I'm like, I hope they kill this character right now.
That was probably the foreshadowing for it right there.
Yeah, I think it was intentionally like, we're gonna make him really annoying here. But yeah, so happy about that. I thought Shao Kahn was great, man. He was
so good.
properly intimidating. I would have liked him see a little bit more dominating, like on, the battlefield, just because of, I felt like they made too much use of the, like, I'm immortal, so you can just stab me a million times thing. Like, some of it was like, okay, well, everybody just seems to be beating him, and if he wasn't invincible, he'd be getting his ass beat right now. Like,
yeah, that's a good point.
That's a little off brand. It's like he doesn't really need this power. He's just better than most people outside of like Liu Kang and maybe Katana, right? And so when Katana started beating up on him, that was believable, but it was like even when he was fighting Cole Young, that should have just been an absolute massacre. He didn't need to be invincible to beat him there, like. So I felt like some of it was a little bit too much of like, I'm invincible, so I'm not even going to defend myself. I'm just going to let you stab the shit out of me. Like, I don't know. I didn't like it. But
or maybe he just knew he was immortal and just wasn't even trying. Like, he wanted to
reckless.
Demoralize his opponent. Well, you don't even, it's not reckless if you're immortal, because nothing hurts you. So he's just sort of like, he just wants to completely demoralize him by letting him just think he's won, and then just turning around. Because he's all upset. He's like, what? That's impossible. And then he just whoops his ass. It's like, it's basically like toying with him the whole time, like letting him think that he's winning.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he expends all of his energy getting what he thinks is getting the kill, and then to realize it was absolutely for nothing. And he just gives up. And like 2 seconds later, he's got no head and he's dissolved in an acid pit.
Right.
It's the most Mortal Kombat death ever, man.
So true.
I was so nervous about Shao Kahn because the Shao Kahn in Annihilation is maybe the worst part of one of the worst movies of all time. Like, the guy they got to play him reminded me of the dude who's like made that song "I'm Too Sexy."
Oh yeah.
Like, that's pretty much what Shao Kahn is in the 1998 Annihilation movie, and he's got like daddy issues, and he's laughing all the time, like like the worst, like So like in this movie, the fact that they made him, they toned him down. They gave him the actual like scales on his arms and back, because he's like part dragon or whatever.
The helmet looked really cool.
The helmet looked good. I was worried that might look cheesy. I remember seeing some clips like before the movie came out, and like that kind of looked like a plastic helmet, but it all looked good. I think they did a good job for the most part.
I like that they didn't take it off either until the very end when they killed him.
Right. Yeah, that was a good call. That was finally made him a character worthy. They're still just fucking Shang Tsung up. I don't think the guy playing him is all that great, at least for this role. He's just kind of like a random character.
They just didn't really have a lot for him to do, I felt like. I think that the message I got from the movie is that like they were like, this guy is going to be the next bad guy, so he's not going to have a ton to do in this movie, but the next one, if we can get there, he'll be the big bad of that one. So
yeah, I mean, it's that or Chinook. So but I would not, I feel like they're sort of avoiding it, because the one thing that 1995, I mean, the 1995 Mortal Kombat movie did quite a few things right, actually. It wasn't great, but the one thing that was great about that was Shang Tsung. Hiroyuki, who passed recently, he is excellent. To the point where he was like the only thing that really stuck from the movies. That in Mortal Kombat 11, they did a story DLC that bridged the story from 11 to 1, which is the newest one. Mm-hmm. And they put him in the game, and he did all the voice lines and stuff. And they made Shang Tsung the same actor, because they just loved his portrayal from the original movie so much. So it's like, I get it. Like, I get trying not to go up against that, but it feels like you got to try. I would prefer them to try and fail, I think, than just be like, give him like 8 lines,
especially it feels
no
like
fights either.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm okay with the no fights thing, because it seems like this movie is like setting up part 2. Shang Tsung is now going to be the bad guy, right? He's going to be the main bad guy. He's letting Shao Kahn do what he wants to do, because he knows that ultimately he's probably going to mess it up, because he's not very smart. And like Shang Tsung is kind of like the mastermind in the background waiting for his turn, right? And I feel like they kind of didn't do a good enough job of explaining that in this movie. If that's, I'm assuming that's the route that they're going, is like, we're going to see MK3 now, and it's going to be Shang Tsung, and we're going to go through that story and be able to see, hopefully Liu Kang at this point is the main character. But
I thought that was maybe the same reason too why Quan Chi didn't get enough shine in this movie too, is because I think him like both of them will probably play a bigger part in the next one
for sure. Yeah. But I agree. I don't know. The Shang Tsung was a little bit different. Didn't have too much to say in general. So it was kind of like hard to tell. It's like the only reason why I'm saying that there, if there's a next movie that they're going to go that route is just because he's alive and Shao Kahn's not. So
yeah,
outside of that, he hasn't really expressed much of an intention to like take over.
There's one big baddie left. Well, I guess there's two now. But there's really one like old school Mortal Kombat character villain that could rival Shang Tsung. So we'll see what they do if they do Shang Tsung next, or if they go up one step above him and do Shinnok. We'll see. I don't know. And Quan Chi, that's the other problem. They fucked Quan Chi up so bad in this movie.
Yeah.
He should probably be like the next major villain. He's like one of the 3 or 4 like most powerful people in all of Mortal Kombat. So the fact that they made him the way they made him is something else. So I guess they're not going to go down that route.
Yeah.
They really are not doing a lot of that story like justice at all with let's get to Scorpion and Sub-Zero, right? These are the mascots, the faces of this whole franchise, and you really got to nail that. Kyle, what is your take on this movie's? So obviously this is a little bit different because we got to Noob Saibot in this movie, which is fucking awesome. But
yeah.
But outside of that, they did get the story right in the 2021 movie. They kind of got it right, which I'll fill you in later on how what they actually did. But Bi-Han, who is Sub-Zero, is like a rival clan to Hanzo Hasashi's. It's the Lin Kuei and the Shirai Ryu. They get the Bi-Han and the Lin Kuei completely slaughter Scorpion's family and his entire clan in a cowardly surprise attack. And then the movie just doesn't really go into how Scorpion becomes Scorpion. They're just sort of like, oh yeah, like by the way, he's a badass now and he's like a demon. It's just kind of. And they tried to connect it with the Arcana thing in the first movie. What's your take on how they approached Scorpion and Sub-Zero, like in this franchise, and then obviously specifically in this movie?
Yeah, I think you know the lore more than I do, of course, but I thought it was a weird approach to have Scorpion essentially be like a good guy here. And maybe I'm like off base here, but it seems like to me, at least maybe from what I remember, the 95 movie, wasn't it like Sub-Zero more on the good side?
No, neither of them were good in the original. The original movie didn't really do anything with that. They were just like there to be there, like, and they were all they say is like, oh, they are slave. Shang Tsung just says they're slaves to my will, and that's all he says. And you never really they never go further into it because they both just die in their fights like shortly after that. But
right.
All I'll say, like without going into the lore, is like Scorpion is sort of like net neutral. He's just sort of the personification of rage and revenge, and like he is used often as a tool, because if you tell him and convince him that somebody had something to do with Bi-Han or the Lin Kuei, he'll just go after them and annihilate them. So he's kind of like he kind of gets used as a tool. So sometimes he'll actually,
dog.
He's like the scariest attack dog. It's like, and all of it was built on a lie, but sometimes he ends up on the good guy side and sometimes he ends up on the bad guy side. It kind of just depends.
So I guess
he's sort of a free agent a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I guess they kind of did it right in the movie then, right?
Yeah. They didn't do it wrong is what I would say.
Yeah. I like the whole approach of like, I like that idea of like how they go to visit him and he's kind of like the most experienced traveler of the nether realms, and so they're like, I know a guy that can like help you get through it, right? I like that idea. And then they go and find him in like essentially the Garden of Eden of like his peaceful home, where he's able to kind of like ignore all of what has happened to him and try to find some sort of peace within himself. I like that whole sequence. And then, finding out that Sub-Zero is still alive, and then it just immediately comes crumbling, and then you realize you're in hell,
Very cool.
I thought it was really, really cool. That was a much better way of like revealing Scorpion than what the sequel or the prequel was to that. Yeah, I really liked it, and I love the actor. Obviously, you and I are both. I don't know if you've watched it, Taylor, the movie Shogun on Hulu.
No, not yet.
Sorry,
I've heard a lot
series.
of good things.
Oh, dude, you got to watch that.
Hiroyuki Sanada is the actor's name.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude.
He's the main character in Shogun as well. Obviously, he's like all over the cover art, but
That's one of the best shows on TV I've seen in as long as I can remember.
yeah, very, very good, man. You got to watch it. So I really love the actor. So big fan of anything that he plays in general. But I don't know. I guess maybe I need to know more of the lore. I'm curious what you think about it, Ian.
Well, yeah, I'll get into it. I tend to get on like long rants of this stuff. So Taylor, how about you go first, and then I'll finish it based on what your take is as well. Like how did you feel about Scorpion and Sub-Zero? I guess it's Noob Saibot now in this movie.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it seemed like a pretty like natural progression of like kind of where the plot was going to maybe introduce them back into the story. It's kind of one of those things where I almost kind of wish like Scorpion's part like might have had a bigger part to play in the movie as well. Like, because it was kind of one of those things where like the last movie isn't super critically acclaimed. I think he probably could have gotten away with like a retcon to maybe put him in the story a little bit more than he was, but generally I like how they handled him. I thought the fight scene at the end against Noob Saibot, which I agree was an awesome choice. He was always one of my favorite characters to play in 9. I love that character. So, but I'm also sad we didn't really get like a proper Sub-Zero, because I do love Sub-Zero quite a bit.
Well,
too.
We still have Kuai Liang, because Bi-Han is the older brother who gets corrupted and is kind of an evil, ruthless bastard. And then we have his younger brother, who has not been in the movies at all once.
Yeah.
Not ever. Maybe they won't even do it. But if they want to have Sub-Zero and have him be the good guy, that would be... They've followed the lore-ish with Bi-Han, kind of. So they could still potentially get away with bringing someone in to be the Sub-Zero that was always supposed to be, which is his younger brother.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, I've always loved that character, so I hope he does come back at some point. He's just so badass. I love
totally
ice.
Like, love ice
powers,
and he is always my number one. Well, okay, I should say, depending on whether another character is even in the game or not, Sub-Zero is always one of the 3 mains. It's basically Katana, Sub-Zero, and then my favorite character is Cyrax. Like those are my every Mortal Kombat comes out, I start playing with the 3 of them, and I learn their moves because I've always just loved the way they all play. And so, yes, the Sub-Zero is just and Cyrax are both so defensive, like in the games. They're very much about like expecting what your opponent's going to do and being a step ahead of them. And having like laying traps for them to fall into and then getting your combos in after that. They're not like super aggressive aggro, like get into the person's face as quickly as possible and get your combos going and all that stuff. Like I'm not great at that. I'm okay at that, but not really as super good at that. So those characters have always kind of liked them for that reason too. The ice thing is super cool, and they make it seem like that's like one of the only things in the 2021 movie that I think they did right is like they made Sub-Zero and his ice powers like actually cool and kind of intimidating.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like he was actually doing stuff to people with ice, which is something
definitely one of the best parts of the movie.
It's like the only good thing that they got in that first movie. I think they did Bi-Han pretty well. And then Noob Saibot. I mean, I'm glad they didn't say his name, because Noob Saibot is just. I mean, the name of it is just the two creators' names backwards put together.
Yeah.
Like, so they didn't need to be like noob, like I'm glad they didn't try it.
It's noob.
Like anyone who's watching Mortal Kombat that has played the games knows who that is, and it's lore accurate. It is Bihan, like after he's a revenant and he's enslaved by Quan Chi. And I love that they just nailed him from the games. Like he splits into the two versions of himself. They both can fight in the size, and they even got like the little hoodie thing that he wears. That's like the little like flappy things right by his neck. It's kind of like a hood. They nailed it. I mean, he looked perfect. He looked absolutely perfect. So I thought that was super cool. I don't love the Scorpion as much as I really like Hiroyuki Sanada. I just feel like they had to have him in there because he's Scorpion. I don't think he really looks like Scorpion. I don't think he really fights like Scorpion.
Yeah, he felt a little neutered. I agree.
He's just
or like old and slow, I think.
Yeah, he's not angry enough and he's not pissed enough. And he's not aggressive enough. Like when he fights, I'll go back again, kind of referencing the movies. Like in the '95 movie, they don't get into his story at all, but they did a great job of like when he fights Johnny Cage in the first movie, like it is just like the games where like he is just hyper aggressive and violent and he's got this every time he punches and makes a sound, he's like, ugh, nah, nah, like the whole time he's just like screaming and he just hates the person he's fighting. And in the '95, that's like the best scene of the whole movie is Johnny Cage versus Scorpion. It's fucking badass. And Scorpion basically kicks Johnny Cage's ass for like the entire fight until the very end, where Johnny kind of escapes and kills him. But they like nailed the feeling and the look of it, and his eyes are white, and then he even pulls off his mask, and you've got the skull. I mean, he's like a banshee, he's like an undead revenant or whatever, like you might call something like that, where it's just like pure rage and fire and death and like anger and aggression. And he's so like wise and calm. And it's just like, well, this is not really Scorpion at all. I just think it's kind of weird, but it's cool. I mean, it's cool that they got a great actor to play the part, and we got to have, I love the idea of him versus Noob Saibot in hell. Is very, very cool. It's like the ultimate version of their fight, so still it's a perfectly fine nod. Sonya and Jax, the worst part of this movie to me. That woman could not act her way to save her life or anyone's life.
And Jax was worse.
Yeah, worse or the same. I mean, they're both just so bad. It's kind of crazy because they casted pretty well. It seems to me like they're like, well, we don't want to recast a bunch of people, so we're going to get these idiots again to play these characters.
Right.
Kyle, what did you think of Sonya and Jax in this movie?
Nothing much. I mean, they were in the backdrop, right? I mean, other than the fact that they at least looked the part. Which is at least you got that right, and you got them kind of accurate in the fights too. I would have liked to see some more powers out of Jax. We didn't really see the power come out of him, right? He's got some spells that he can do. He was just kind of a martial artist with metal arms, which, I mean, I know that's like 90% of what he is, and the thing is too, at least from what I remember about Mortal Kombat, Jax being like having shitty dialogue is okay with me because he's always kind of been that way to me. Like, he's not really an in-depth character. He's just kind of like Sonya's sidekick, right? So it's like, I don't really care that he does like a horrible job in this movie, but I definitely expected more out of Sonya. She's always been kind of a more prominent character, kind of like she's like the Lara Croft of the lore, and so
for sure, it's
like she's always been kind of in the forefront. Especially she was obviously, I'm a little kid. I was like had the big time hots for her when I was watching the 1995 movie. So it was just kind of sad because I just remember her having a lot more depth, and Jax again, it seems like kind of like the zero. There's never been much depth to that character other than just being kind of like the partner or Sonya's partner essentially. Like they're both kind of like cop vibes, and she's got a lot more character in her, and so I was a little more disappointed with that for sure. I wish they would have done more.
What do you think, Taylor?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I thought that the lady who plays Sonya Blade is not a good actor whatsoever. But I
Painful.
actually didn't. I didn't actually hate Jax's performance. I thought he was okay. I don't have kind of the same like attachment to the character as you do, Ian. So there's probably obviously some big discrepancies, but I kind of enjoyed him. I wish they would have given him a little bit more to do, because I always remember. I do like playing him in the games. I think he's a really cool character. He reminds me a lot of Cyborg from like the DC comics. So I kind of wish they would have given him a little bit more to do. But I didn't think he was horrible in this movie.
I thought his lines were really terrible. Like every time he said something, I was just like rolling my eyes so hard in the back of my head. Where he's like, I don't know. They're just sort of like, hey, Jax, we don't really have anything for you to do in this movie, so like you're just gonna be this like really nice guy that says like something encouraging every now and then. And he's like, yeah, you'll do fine. Or whatever.
Dude,
and it's
you're
just
right.
like, shut the fuck up.
He was
dude.
like literally like Sonya's like personal trainer throughout the whole movie. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
It's like, you got this, baby girl. Come on, you know? It's like, who even are you? Like,
it's so funny because like all that stuff, right? If you think about making these movies out of these games, like everyone has these different takes, I'm sure, about what they think went right or wrong with the previous movies, or what they think they could do better than the games, or whatever the case may be. And ultimately, there's so many games, and the way the story functions over the course of the games, with like they fuck with the timelines and stuff to be able to kind of restart and mess with things and change things around. I mean, it's very loosey goosey. I'm not over here like, well, in Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, Jack, it's like, that's not what I'm not really that worried about it, but it's just like, it's just funny because like we talk about Annihilation, which is maybe the worst movie of all time. And the Jax in that movie is fucking great. He's like a cocky badass. Like he reminds me of Coltrane from Gears of War.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's like a really upbeat, cocky kind of like it'd be like in Mortal Kombat, like if you gave like a great NFL lineman super powerful arms and like boxing training and just let him loose on an enemy, like they would. He actually, the guy, he did really good in Annihilation. He's like one of the few bright spots of Annihilation. And so I'm just kept waiting for them to. He's kind of bigger than life and bombastic and funny, and he's badass. He's very likable, and he is like he is a kind soul, like that. He is always a good person in all the games, and he's actually usually very likable. I just felt like he was just empty. They just didn't have enough time. They didn't have enough time.
Yeah, too many characters.
Too many characters. Exactly. And then Sonya's just so bad. She's just so awful. The actress is just like, every time she speaks, it's just like, oh God. It's just like she stands out like a sore thumb because everyone else does at least a decent job.
They wouldn't be able to afford her more than likely, but I've always thought Katie Sackhoff could be a good Sonya Blade.
I think they could afford her. But yeah, that would be awesome. That would be really cool. Yeah, there's the Sonya in the original '95 movie was decent as well. I think they got her right. So like each movie gets different characters right and wrong. It's just kind of fun to go through them all and see what we think about them all. I hate that they the music there's at the very end of this movie, they nod to the original movie theme. The bum 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 bum, like that classic theme, but there's like licensing issues where that they don't have the rights to it. And I guess they also were like, oh, like it's too techno-y and high energy and stuff. Like we want it to be more serious. Like that's not what it is. You couldn't get the licensing for it because it would have been absolutely perfect there at the end. In that fight between the Revenant, Kung Lao Revenant. It's a song called The Immortals by a Belgian duo called Techno Syndrome. And the song was created for the 1994-95 tie-in movie album. So it's not natively owned as part of the game's core audio assets. So that's
interesting.
And apparently there's like they've kind of avoided using it too. I know, right? Like, how did you not pay them enough for this? Right? It's like, you got to have that song in there.
Right.
Yeah, are you kidding
The little
me?
like Euro breakdown part where it's like bum 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 bum, and there's the guy in the back going,
Yeah.
test your might.
With
Dun,
the
dun, dun, dun,
echoes
dun, dun, dun,
for
dun,
the
dun, dun.
reverb.
It's so good. Like that's one of the things to me that's like it's so funny for them to be like, oh yeah, well we just want to have a little more serious tone. I was like, fuck, what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
are you
'Cause
watching the
that
same movie
shines
I am?
through so well with Johnny Cage and
Oh man, the whole Johnny Cage and Baraka thing too was just so good. Like Kyle and I were actually really laughing when Baraka's asking for his like sage wisdom and tutelage later, and he goes like, "Yeah, I'll get right on that."
Right.
We were dying to some of those one-liners that Carl Urban drops were really good.
Yeah.
I like that we got the Johnny Cage nut shot too.
Got
That
the
was a
classic nut shop. So awesome. I mean, yeah, they did a much
love
better
the
job.
Constant satire of like what a kind of a joke he really is when you compare him to all the other characters, you know. I love the whole idea of like putting on his sunglasses is like what activates him, you know. Like,
I am Johnny fucking Cage.
It's kind of like a real like kind of like Duke Nukem vibe about him.
Yeah,
you know?
For sure.
Yeah,
it does. That's a good pull. That was cool too. Like his intro scene, his fight scene that turned into the movie was very much both a nod to his character from the games, but also a nod to the '95 film, which is like one of the best scenes in that whole movie is the Johnny Cage intro where he beats all these guys up and then he roundhouse kicks the last guy, and the guy doesn't fall down. And he tells him, "This is the part where you fall down," and then the guy falls and he goes,
"Oh yeah,
where do you get these guys?" And then it cuts, and then you realize you're on a movie set, and it's like, oh, okay. So lots of like good little nods, good fan service all the way throughout.
What was that one? What's that one line I'm thinking about? Sorry, the '95 movie where he's like, "You broke my glasses, you asshole."
Oh no, he said Goro smashes his sunglasses. And he goes,
Goro.
Yeah, Prince him. Goro. Yeah, and he smashes his sunglasses, and Johnny Cage says, "That was a $500 pair of sunglasses, you asshole."
Oh man, what an iconic line.
Yeah, it is so good. The '95. Taylor, if you haven't, did you say you had not seen the '95 movie?
No, I have.
Check it out.
I'm pretty sure you and me watched it together.
Oh, okay, that makes
a
sense.
long time ago, but I have not seen it since.
I want to rewatch it.
It's fun, man. It's very fun. Yeah, I feel like we pretty much covered everything. Some of the stuff you guys might have some more things you want to talk about before we wrap it up. But the last thing that I wanted to ask you guys about, kind of in a roundabout way, I thought the biggest difference, other than the structure of the movie actually being a tournament and the story being more about some of the stories from the games and all the things we discussed, I thought the special effects and the cinematography was a lot better. They were choosing to place all these fights in really interesting, bombastic, like fantastical places. So I just kind of wanted to get your take on that. What were some of your favorite like areas in the movie? Because I do think that was a strength of this movie. Was like I was always like, oh wow, that's a cool backdrop. Oh, ooh, this is cool. Even when you could tell it was kind of CGI and it's like not the greatest CGI. I feel like the art direction was much better and more intentional and thoughtful in this movie. Like, so what are some of your favorite like cool stages for the fights or anywhere else throughout this movie? Like, Kyle, like what were some of your favorite parts there?
Yeah, I really love the room with the spikes with Sonya Blade. That was a classic.
So classic.
Yeah. That was scenery wise was probably I would say that was my second favorite because of the fight with Shao Kahn and Cole Young. I think the camera work there was very spot on. I loved the way that it panned out and it looked like
side by side.
Yeah,
it was cool.
And the way the camera moves in like you're just starting a fight in a classic Mortal Kombat game. Loved that whole setup. So I'd say that's probably my favorite, and some of that has to do with just the camera work going on there.
Yeah, that was really, really cool when they did that. Yeah, they had them on each side like that. That was awesome. Taylor, how about you? What were some of your favorite backdrops?
Yeah. I mean, the acid pits room was just so classic, and I love kind of like the glowing green of the whole thing and how dungeon like it looks. It was straight out of the video game. So I thought that was like a nice little nod as well. Also, kind of have to give some mention to the throne room too. Like I thought it was kind of nice looking and well lit, and then maybe even the fight between Liu Kang and Kung Lao, like in the almost like black hole, like it was like a kung fu like fighting style arena, but like in space. I don't know. It was a cool like visual.
I thought it was awesome. The kind of that like blue flame thing happening, and they were clearly. They had something on that soundstage that was emitting that light. I almost wonder if there wasn't like a giant screen like they have, like they filmed the Mandalorian shows on, because the light was like reflecting on them perfectly. That blue, it had a blue hue to all of it, and I thought it looked really good.
Yeah, agreed. It was definitely one of the coolest little set pieces of the whole movie.
Yeah, the spike pit was super cool. Loved that. I thought they did a really good job with that.
Am I crazy, or is the spike pit though? I remembered it being like above the like I remember the classic map is like it's a
bridge.
The two fighters are on kind of like a bridge like over the spike pit, and this seemed like it was like at the bottom of the pit already.
Yeah, I mean it started at the bottom. I guess because they just probably had to choose something, but it was clearly inspired by because if you get an uppercut at the right time in the original game, they go down there into that spike pit. And if you can, in one of the games, you can transfer down there. And if they land down there and their health is high enough, they'll survive. So then the other character jumps down. You can finish the fight down there in the spikes. It's cool. Also a environmental fatality. If they're low enough health, they go down there and they just get impaled by them.
That's right.
So it's just kind of a nod to being down there.
For sure. I would have liked to have seen more of those, kind of more of the environmental stuff too. Like I remember in one of the more recent ones, they had that system where you have 2 health bars or whatever. And if you get hit through 1 health bar, it'll show a cutscene of somebody flying through a wall or getting thrown off into something. It would have been cool in the scene with, I was thinking about that with Katana and Johnny Cage when they were having their fight. If there was a scene where maybe he gets kicked through a wall or something, and then they're
fighting somewhere else,
part of the stage. Yeah,
that was something NetherRealm Studios introduced actually with the first Injustice game.
Yeah, I liked that stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean they just make such good easy to learn and fun fighting games that the Injustice games were sick. I loved those games. And I don't even really care about DC characters that much.
Very good. I remember there was a point in time our group was playing those games.
Yeah, too. Basically every NetherRealm game that came out, we would all just learn it and play it together. Because they're just the right level of accessibility. I feel like they're kind of the casual person's fighting game.
For sure.
Not that you can't get really crazy with them, but they've always seemed like they're a little more accessible. Okay, so before I give you the very last thing and we get out of here, any final thoughts that you guys wanted to get to? I have one more little thing I wanted to bring up, but do you guys have any final thoughts on the movie or anything we haven't talked about yet that you wanted to bring up?
Sorry if I'm maybe putting the cart before the horse. Maybe you're just about to bring this up. But
go ahead.
The Ed Boon cameo.
Yeah, that was cool. Well, that's not the question I wanted to ask you guys to finish the show, but that is the little thing I wanted to bring up because I got really excited with that.
Yeah, that was cool. Perfect way to bring him up, just being the bartender too. It reminds me of in Spider-Man, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man's having Bruce Campbell show up.
Oh yeah.
Because with his connection to Sam Raimi, he's always he's the usher in one movie. So
he's in his cameos. Cool. Well, to me, I mean, speaking of the movie adopting the Marvel script, it's such a pull of Stan Lee being in every single Marvel movie as a cameo. That's what it reminded me of the most. Was they were clearly setting out we're going to do the Marvel version of Mortal Kombat. That's what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Let's go get Ed Boon and he can be the bartender. I thought that was also so cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Also, shout out to the scene with the fan in the bar too with Johnny Cage. I thought that was a cool scene of him being nobody wants action here anymore, and the guy just goes, well, I thought it was cool. Like I just thought that was kind of well delivered. It was kind of a little touching moment. I liked that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's sort of justifying like the movie itself. Like, look, like some things can just be cool and fun. Doesn't all have to be trying to go after an Oscar or whatever. Like,
yeah, it was just kind of nice. Like I felt like that guy in the moment. If I had like met Johnny Cage at a bar, I'd be like, I don't know, man. Like I think he's pretty cool.
And then you just kind of slowly walk away, like
sham with his beard.
Like damn, dude. Yeah, I love that.
Let me go change out of my Mortal Kombat shirt now.
Right? Yeah, no kidding. That's funny. So to close it out, assuming this movie does well enough, what would you want to see in Mortal Kombat 3? And that'll be our last thing today before we sign off. So Kyle, let's start with you. This movie makes the money it needs to make. They greenlight a third one. What are some of the characters you want to see, or maybe like a general plot line? Like what would you like to see from a third one?
Yeah, I want to definitely see the cyborgs get into this. I've always thought just they're some of the most like aesthetically pleasing characters.
Oh yeah,
of all of them. I've always felt some sort of strange, attraction to Reptile. He's always been one of my favorite characters. So
me too.
Definitely would love to see Reptile. Maybe even if you're wanting like some of that more of, with the direction that they're going, you want some more of that like comic relief. Maybe Goro would be a cool way to go about it. Just having a big hulking idiot in the movie.
Well, did Goro die in the last one?
Oh, he was in the last one. God, I forget so much.
Yeah,
I don't even remember him being in the last.
Oh
one.
yeah, they send him to Cole Young's house.
That's right. That's
where his
right.
family is.
God.
And
Jesus.
he's like he's tearing shit up. I think they end up killing him, which is fucking crazy. I just watched it. I can't remember because I was just like, oh, the whole time. I'll have to look it up. But yeah, so I don't think there will be Goro.
Okay.
They can pull some shenanigans.
That's what
Goro dies in the movie. He's killed by Cole Young, who uses his newly unlocked Arcana, a suit of armor, to overpower and brutally stab Goro in the eye. That's right.
Who is God, I just saw him just a second ago. Another
What are you
character.
looking for? Oh.
What is it, Nighthawk, right?
T-Hawk?
The Native American.
Nightwolf?
Nightwolf. Yes.
Nightwolf.
I think Nightwolf is a cool character.
I got it mixed up with the Native American.
They'd have to be pretty careful with that, in my opinion, because
yeah,
I
that's
think
fair.
so, because he's like, if you go back and play some of the games, it's like, may the spirit be with you. Like, oh god.
yeah.
Like it's pretty like pretty much like the idea of like a middle-aged white man's from like the 1980s idea of a Native American.
Sure.
Yeah.
So like maybe they wanted to figure out something cool. Like in Annihilation, Nightwolf is played like by a white guy, and he's like telling Liu Kang about your animality, and that's his accent. He's like, you gotta trust in your spirit, your animality.
Why does he sound like?
Why do you talk like this?
Who does that sound like? It sounds like that one wrestler guy, Jesse. I forget his name. He was like the senator of Minnesota.
Oh, just Ventura.
Yeah,
Ventura. Yeah,
yeah,
the super thermite.
Yeah. I ain't got time to bleed.
Yeah. So funny.
I mean, I would like to see Nightwolf. It would be cool for them to be like, like maybe we should go find someone who like speaks like Choctaw or something, and like figure out a cool way and go get a real Native American actor who can actually do it justice. Like then I'm intrigued by Nightwolf at that point. But
yeah,
that's one character that is a little questionable for Mortal Kombat.
No, yeah, for sure.
But I'd like to see it.
This is why, rather than a movie, I would love to see a show made out of this, to be able to really develop
so many characters.
Yeah, there's a lot of characters to go through, and I was just looking too. Ermac would be cool.
Ermac.
Yeah, Ermac is sick.
I was gonna say, for me personally, more ninjas. I want more of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want Rain. I think would be kind of cool.
Rain, yep.
Ermac, yeah.
But definitely cyborgs for me. I
Yeah,
need
the
some more
cyborgs. Yeah, Cyrax is my favorite character, and I would love for them to actually have the people first.
Yeah.
Because like the actual people, and then what happens to them, you know, brutally. They're sort of like, it's sort of like a Darth Vader story. Like they're brutally turned into these. The process of being turned into one of these cyborgs is painful and excruciating, and like, I think if you had a likable character that got turned into one of these, and then they have to just do whatever is their master wills, they have no more free will. They're just machines at the end, but they're like trapped inside there. Kind of crazy. Yeah, Cyrax is sick. He's like my favorite character in the whole.
Cyrax, Smoke,
Sector.
Smoke.
Yeah.
Smoke would be cool.
And because Smoke is also a ninja first, and then he gets turned into the Cyber Lin Kuei by Bihan, who's just like dead set on power. So yeah, that'd be really cool.
Melina would be cool too.
Melina, yes.
Yeah.
I was actually
she's
thinking
in the last
she was going
one.
to show up.
She's in the
that's right.
2021
was she?
movie, and she's a fucking no name like character who's in it and just dies. Like they already used her up.
Bring her back.
I know. Like they need to just forget about that first movie, because it's like you've wasted
Yeah, I legit
Melina and Goro, and like
Well,
I
if you
just
got rid
watched
of
it. So
Goro, then you could still do Shiva though.
yeah, you could do Shiva. Yep, absolutely, could do that.
I would love to see. I forget their names, but there's the one guy who's like the Western cowboy dude. I kind of like him a lot. Like he's got the
he's a newer one. I can't remember his name right now, but he's
the blind swordsman guy with the
Kenshi.
blindfold.
Yeah, Kenshi's fucking awesome.
He's sick.
Yeah,
I love him.
He's a great character. He'd be a really good. I can't believe that they had Cole Young and they could have just done Kenshi.
A dude, right?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Crazy.
So much cool. He's like Daredevil, but
samurai. Yeah. He's very, very cool. Very cool character. Yeah, for me, like the thing that I want to see is, I agree with Kyle. Of course, the cyborgs, got to get the cyborgs in there, but I want to see. I wish they could kind of like forget a little bit about the way they made Quan Chi look, and I would love for them to do sort of like the Deadly Alliance thing, which is one of the games, and it's when Quan Chi and Shang Tsung like team up, and things go south really quickly. Because what's interesting is Liu Kang dies in this movie, like sacrificial, but he's going after Kung Lao's soul in the Nether Realm, so that could get really interesting. I would love to see Quan Chi and Shang Tsung take center light as the villains, and like I think the plot line could be them going and like trying to awaken Shinnok to be their like new emperor or whatever, and you know, and get the whole amulet in there, and get Raiden a little more involved. I feel like Raiden's kind of been on the sidelines, so there'd be all kinds of cool stuff that they could do. But it'd be fun. It'd be a lot of fun. Taylor, is there any like other characters you're thinking of that you might want to see in a movie, in a sequel?
You know, I was thinking there was one character I really liked in, I can't remember if it was, I think it was in 10 actually. She was like a insect lady.
Yeah.
I forget her
she
name.
Was cool.
But
yeah, she was.
I actually feel like the
God,
lady that
name?
played Jade could have played her pretty well too.
What was her fucking name? That's gonna drive me. Devora. Yeah, she was cool.
Devora.
Yeah, she was sick.
I always liked her. Her fatalities were cool.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get new characters that are like just as cool as some of the old ones, but they've had a couple that have really hit.
Yeah.
So that'd be awesome. Yeah, I would also like to see the good Sub-Zero. Get Kuai Liang character introduced somehow. Make it up. I mean, he could be younger and like he could be a descendant of Bihan's or whatever, and Raiden finds him and sending him in, you know, trains him and then sends him into hell to go rescue Liu Kang and Kung Lao. I mean, there's a million different ways that you could do this.
I'd like to see like a younger, more spry Scorpion maybe too to match him up against.
Sure,
I don't know, work some hell magic to make him young. Like I think might be cool too.
Yeah, I would just like to see him as the
good old spring in his step.
Oh yeah, I would just like to see him as the aggressor that he is, you know, and just like an unstoppable force. Because
These guys are all so cool.
He's a little too good, like just kind of neutral good right now, and it's like he's just kind of uninteresting, you know.
How about the classic Striker?
Oh God, fucking Striker! It's like one of the worst characters.
That's the police officer guy. I think,
yes,
right?
Yeah. He's got the what is that? That stick,
baton.
The baton. Yeah. Another one that I thought was really cool is Cabal.
Cabal's in the last one.
Oh,
he's
he
in
has, like, the
2021.
knives, right?
Oh, that's right. Jesus, I need to watch.
They
this
actually did a good job with him, and that he's like one of the only characters that they actually did a pretty decent. He looked good. His costume was good. His fighting was good. All that.
I think they didn't blow their load on all the good characters.
I know, right? It's crazy.
Right.
But yeah, that's I would say I'd give that, if I combine the movie level with the Mortal Kombat fandom level, I'd give it like a 3 out of 5 or like a 6.5 out of 10 on the game scale.
Those are fair.
Maybe a 7, like during the parts where I was excited and loving it. A 7 during the parts where it was really fucking terrible, like a 4.5. So you put the two together and it's like 6.5. I'd give the other one like a 3, you know. So and Annihilation is like truly a 1. Everyone should watch Annihilation because it might be the worst movie ever. Made by Hollywood. I'm not talking about like the B movie, like indie.
I wish there was a way.
I mean,
we could
like,
do like a
Hollywood
Discord watch along or something. And
I would love that, dude. That would be a great movie to do it with too, because it's
right.
horrendous. They got Jax right. They got the cyborgs right. That's about it. Everything else was bad. So one of the worst things about Annihilation, you guys. There's a lot of things, but there's a moment where you meet the good Sub-Zero, like kind of toward the beginning, like just randomly. He never he shows up and then he just never comes back into the story again. He's just like there in the beginning, and Scorpion shows up and he captures Katana, and the good Sub-Zero and Scorpion have a fight, and they fight and fight and fight, and then Scorpion eventually gets Katana and he jumps into a portal, and as he's jumping into the portal with her as prisoner, he goes in this Scorpion voice, something that Scorpion's never said in any game ever. He goes, "Suckers!" It's so bad.
No way.
Suckers!
Oh man.
And
Could
then
you be more out of character with just one word?
And then the good Sub-Zero is like, "Liu Kang, you've got to go do all this. I know I'm powerful, can help, but I'll never see you again." And then he's gone. Pretty amazing, but
so funny.
Anyway, we'll just leave you guys with that. Well, everyone, thank you so much for listening to our kind of messy takedown of this movie, our review. Better than expected is probably the theme we would go with. I would recommend it to any Mortal Kombat fan. Probably wouldn't recommend it to pretty much anybody else, though. So that's kind of where we're at there.
Poor Alicia.
We'll be back. She was fine. She enjoyed it fine.
Yeah.
She's so chill with stuff like that. We'll be back to normal next week. Solo Gamer Podcast. I think we will not have Kyle.
No.
He's going to be out of the country for the next 2 episodes. So Taylor, you and I are going to hold it down.
Hold it down.
Maybe we can. I've got a couple ideas for one of the episodes that we could potentially have a guest on for. If you're interested
absolutely.
in that. But until then, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time this evening and for going and out and seeing the movie and checking it out. I hope they make a third one. I would be interested in seeing it. Hopefully they can bring everybody back and keep it going. But until then, thank you all so much for listening to The Experience Point, and we will see you next time.
See you guys. Stay safe.
Later, guys.